The diseases, evils, and calamities that happen to us. They beg the question, why does Allah allow these bad things to happen? Atheists say if there is a creator, then he wouldn't have allowed such calamities to happen. But is it really so? First of all, we should start by saying that the existence of evil in the universe cannot be proof for the absence of a creator, that is Allah. Why? For example, let's imagine a museum or an exhibition space. Depending on their interests, the people that are visiting them may or may not like the works inside. When someone who doesn't know anything about painting sees a famous and valuable work, they would say, "This painting doesn't make any sense. I only see irregular and chaotic lines here." However, for someone who knows about paintings, that work has excellent features and has many meanings behind every detail. Yes, someone who does not understand art may not like the work, but they cannot say this work doesn't have an artist. The fact that a work is found ugly cannot be proof of the absence of the artist. Just like that, the fact that a person who is looking at the universe finds some calamities ugly or that he does not like the diseases that are happening to him and cannot understand the reasons behind them is not proof for the absence of the artist, that is Allah. Because even saying that there is ugliness indicates an artist. So an atheist cannot claim the absence of God by pointing out the calamities. Then what is the reason why human beings struggle with all these catastrophes? Let's take a look at this. You can assess if something is flawed or perfect by looking at the purpose for which it was made. If something works well in accordance with its purpose, we can say it is of good quality, it is nice. If it doesn't work as intended, we say that it is ugly and flawed. For example, the purpose of a library is to provide a quiet and peaceful environment for people to work. Now, could someone who visits a library for the first time after observing the place and not liking the silence say things like, "Why is this place so quiet? Why is there no movement? No one's talking. What a faulty and flawed design." Could he criticize it like that? Of course not. Because the library is supposed to be an environment that requires silence. It's its purpose. So the fact that the library is quiet indicates that it is a quality and beautiful library. Or imagine a gym. Someone is visiting here for the first time and sees that the people are tired and sweaty. Lying on the floor exhausted, could he say things like, "Who is persecuting these people? What a pity. What a cruel and flawed environment." Of course they couldn't, because the purpose of this place is to make people physically improve themselves through struggle. Just like in these examples, this universe has certain purposes. We can understand whether the events in the universe are good or bad by looking at the purpose of the universe. Recognizing the names of Allah comes first among these purposes. Many other items can be counted, such as progressing by struggle with trials, by passing the test of patience. If we look at the universe according to these purposes, then it is necessary to have troubles, calamities, and diseases. For example, if there were no diseases, could we know the name of Allah, Shafi, or the name Razak? If there was no hunger, if there were no tests of gratitude and patience, could spiritual progress be achieved? No. Then the universe and the events which we call calamities within the universe are necessary for man's duty to get to know Allah and to rank up through struggle. Therefore, we cannot look at these events as flaws and evils. If such calamities were to occur in heaven and not on earth, then we would be able to say, "This place is bad. There is ugliness here." Because heaven is a place of goodness and reward, the world, on the other hand, is a place of trial. If we think about the concept of finding a flaw in light of this purpose that we've explained, we can say that an atheist who does not know the purpose of the universe and even thinks that it is purposeless certainly would not be able to evaluate whether these calamities are good or bad, because if the purpose is not known, the event cannot be interpreted correctly. In fact, everything in the universe is beautiful. Yes, something is either beautiful in and of itself, or it's beautiful in terms of its result. Even many issues that we think of as evil have many beauties in terms of their results. When a man with his selfish nature sees an event that does not benefit him, he immediately defines it as bad. However, if the event benefits all humanity and has a common benefit, we can say that the event is good. For example, someone who doesn't like the winter and is always sick in that period cannot say, "I get harmed, I don't like the winter. Therefore, the winter season is a flaw, it's an ugliness." Because if we look at the result, the winter is indispensable for life. It would be a mistake to evaluate the winter as bad with personal interpretation. Similarly, if we look at calamities, diseases, not with a personal interpretation, but from the perspective of the general benefits as their results, we will see that there are a lot of wisdom and benefits behind them. Let's elaborate on these general benefits. In fact, the thing that distinguishes beauty is the presence of ugliness, because everything is known through its opposite. For example, if there is no cold, the heat cannot be known. Without darkness, light cannot be known. Similarly, the events that we describe as disorder, evil, and ugliness are actually matters that enable us to realize the order, goodness, and beauty. I mean, think about it. Imagine if there was no ugliness. Could we speak of beauty? Or could we speak of order where there was no disorder? So the existence of opposite concepts is necessary to understand beauty. A person who is constantly living in order and beauty can no longer understand the value of that order and beauty. We can evaluate natural events such as earthquakes in this manner. For example, earthquakes can seem evil. It is an event that shakes the earth intensely and is considered to be a calamity. At face value, it may be perceived as very harmful and a disorder, but in fact the thing that tells us what the order is are these earthquakes. Yes, earthquakes remind people that the earth does not shake on normal days and makes us feel that such an orderly and stable earth is actually a blessing. They make people who are used to normal conditions realize that even the things that they think is normal are in fact blessings. Yes, the thing that makes us notice the order is the disorder. The thing that makes the beauty beautiful is the ugliness of the ugly. So even the matters that are assumed to be disordered are in fact beautiful. Another point is that constant beauty makes people forget the hereafter by making them heedless. It makes the world look beautiful and intoxicate people. For a person who forgets his duty and forgets the hereafter, troubles are actually a warning and a wake-up call. An intoxicated person cannot be aware of the events around him. One could make unlikely mistakes thinking that they are doing the right thing. At that point, someone should wake him up to reality. Waking him up would be the greatest favor done to him. Just like that, the human being who was sent to the world to know Allah sometimes forgets his duty. Contrary to his mission, he can become immersed in extremely insignificant things. Some days, he forgets the taste of praying. Some days, he falls into sin in such a way that he even forgets what it means to regret. Actually, at this point, he needs someone to wake him up from that state. In reality, it's not evil that Allah wakes him up from his heedless, sinful state with calamities and diseases, but it's pure mercy and beauty. Because think about it, whoever experiences a problem starts thinking more about the hereafter compared to other people, and he turns to worship. So even from this point of view, we should see calamities not as evil, but as blessings to be thankful for. Human logic is in constant improvement. The human being who always understands the logic of the events later on tries to learn what is beneficial and what is harmful throughout his life. Sometimes he can assume the beneficial matters and warnings to be harmful. For example, the slap of a mother to avoid her child from touching the stove is actually a blessing for him. The child isn't aware of this. He can neither recognize the danger of the stove, nor can he immediately understand the reason for the slap. When he understands the danger of the burning stove later on, he realizes that the slap was actually a result of compassion. Yes, if we look at it from the point of view of mercy, in a real sense, there is no ugliness in evil. Just like in these examples, there may be some warnings that Allah sends in our way. Sometimes we don't understand them. We may think of them as bad things, but in fact, it's the opposite. It's an act of pure mercy. Sometimes it takes time for us to realize this. Just think about it, thinking that even the slap of a mother had a benefit. How can there be no mercy in a warning that is sent by Allah, who showers the human beings with so many blessings with His infinite love and care? Yes, brothers, man is a soldier on duty who is trying to understand the universe and get to know Allah. Think about the blessings of Allah and the fact that He created so many beauties. As the one who gives the feeling of compassion to all the mothers, would Allah ever intend any harm to you in a real sense? As the one who puts benefit in all things and manages everything with wisdom, would Allah ever create disorganized and useless matters? Sometimes we need to change our perspective. We have to evaluate things holistically.